Hi, welcome to this second video about the Soundforce DUAL LFO. This video won't be so much about the features of DUAL LFO, as I've covered them extensively in my first video. That one should pop up somewhere above my head. If you haven't watched that one and you're really curious about what all the little knobs and the inputs and the outputs on DUAL LFO do, I really suggest you watch that one as well, because all the inputs and knobs give us a lot of control over what we can achieve with DUAL LFO, especially when you start cross-modulating one wave with the other wave. I also want to do a little correction. I've written it down in the description of the first video. When I was checking the frequency of the DUAL LFO in its highest setting, so the fastest, I got frequencies up to 1K or 1000 Hz. Now Nicholas of Soundforce told me afterwards that the unit I got for review was a pre-production unit, and the range of the frequencies have been adjusted in the production units because there was a lot of aliasing, I don't know, you know what I mean, in the higher frequencies. So by changing some components, I guess resistors, the frequency range of the production units don't go up as high. To showcase some things I like to do with DUAL LFO, I'm relying heavily on the dual filter by Soundforce as well. And one of them, and this I showed in the first video as well, is using both LFOs synced by using the tap input and using one wave, so one LFO, to change the divider or the multiplication on the other one. And this creates a really interesting and cool stuttering modulation. Another thing I really like to do with a set of LFOs and a pair of filters is creating some kind of stereo movement. By melting one signal into two filters and modulating those filters with separate LFOs, you get a stereo image that's constantly shifting from the left to the right. Another thing I really wanted to try again was using Dual LFO as a VCO. I did something similar in my first video where I synced one of the LFOs with the tap tempo input and created subharmonics by modulating the divider or the multiplication with the other waves. But for this video I went a completely different route. One last thing I really wanted to mention in this video is how impressed I am with the build quality of these modules. The price on these is really relatively low, and the quality, the sturdiness is really awesome. And I really think that's not an unimportant feature of a module. I'm really not afraid to break anything. I'm pretty sure I showed in the first video how I tried wiggling one of those knobs laterally, and they just didn't move an inch. I was moving my whole rack around. So these are really sturdy modules. I talked a little bit about this with Nicholas, and I asked him how he is able to produce that kind of quality for a relatively low price, and he told me that it has a lot to do with clever engineering. A lot of it has to do by really aiming for producing a really high quality module with a low price. That's actually really it. Nicholas uses really widely available components for his modules, so the price of these components is rather low. Nicholas also told me that by using SMD components, the price can be kept low. And I did some research about this because I'm really not familiar with the differences between SMD and through-hole components. Apart from the size, the SMDs are really small, and one of the reasons behind it is simply because these SMDs are surface mounted. They don't have long wires that go through the PCBs. There's less waste, there's less wires that need to be cut, and there's also a bigger contact surface between the components and the solder lines on the PCB, and this ensures a better heat regulation as well. Because there's a bigger contact surface, the heat can dissipate much easier. And judging by the functionality of this module, I don't think Nicholas spared any cost to make us the most useful, sturdy module he could possibly make, while keeping the price rather low. I mean, there's several modules in my rack that aren't nearly as sturdy as the modules by Soundforce, and they actually cost quite a lot more. So thank you, Nicholas, for making these awesome modules that almost everyone can afford. I hope you learned a little bit more about the Dual LFO by Soundforce, or that you at least enjoyed the patches I made, and thank you very much for watching this video. Bye.